Can you hear me now? Not sure if it's too loud. Might be a few seconds before anything happens. Yeah, if you can hear me, let me know. You can hear me? Okay, for some reason my settings was changed, so it turned off my... or it like switched my microphone to a different setting so it wasn't on to its usual, so I don't know why that happened, but it did. Okay. At least that was fixed. Not sure why that happened, but it did. I'll just have to delete the short video later. Hello again. Don't know why we're doing that. These a little bit more narrow. Can't hurt eyelashes. There we go. Hope everyone's doing well. Ah, two Alexes. No, which one's the real one? Okay. Welcome, Armorous. Okay. Probably more louder. I forget where it was from, but there was like one joke where it's like, "Oh, we're both twins. Like we can't tell which one of us is the evil one because we both have mustaches." I forget where I was from. It will probably come back to me later. I know I'd seen it like recently too, like maybe a week or two ago. It was just like a random clip, so I wasn't really like focused too hard on where it was from. Actually, let's change this one. That way it's more out. One of these days I want to make an RPG, or even just like a visual novel. Just require the time. And it's probably not too difficult to do a visual novel. It's just a matter of, getting the assets together and putting them into video form, or if I'm thinking of a game-wise, and, whatever template that those are used in. And I have one of them, I just haven't tinkered with it. Here. Eden's got pretty thick thighs, so I gotta accommodate for those. This is just a body pick of Eden because I hadn't made one for her yet. So she kind of needs it, especially for like future stuff like card art and bios and stuff like that. She is going to be taking up a lot of space because of her limbs. So let's do this one first. I'll worry about her arms after the fact. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just mostly just drawing her being pretty nonchalant and lazy and just being, you know, a bit of a pig. The next pick for Nadine will be pretty fun. And then I'm thinking of doing a drive-driven artwork. So, like, you know, people can chip in to fund for whatever picks that are going to be put up. And I was thinking of doing two different ones. One for that's like Fat Lovers Club based, where like not to get the picks for Fat Lovers Club, but it's like in that category. So it's like, okay, here's a character that's going to gain weight, and then, you know, it goes on from there. And then the other one is more like unrelated picks, like they don't connect to each other or anything, but you can just get them. And I was thinking of making them like less costly compared to the Fat Lovers Club one, since Fat Lovers Club is more specific. But that's my thoughts at the moment. Gonna work on the stuff that I already have on my plate first before I tackle those. But yeah, it won't be doing the auction thing like I did before. If I do another auction thing, it'll probably be like a your character here thing. Yeah. And then I just have to come up with like goals and a time frame and stuff like that, and how it's going to be funded. I'll probably use coffee for it, either that or the direct PayPal thing. But I'm trying to like make sure I'm keeping track, because I get sometimes people buy the art sets from me on that goes directly to PayPal, so I don't want to like mistaken a donation as one of those. So I might use coffee just so I can keep track, because I think coffee can set that up, if I'm not mistaken. And it's going to be completely its own thing. It's not going to be like, you know, people who are on Patreon get it early or something like that. It's like, no, it's going to be a completely community thing, so everybody gets it at the same time. Or helps each other out to get whatever the art pieces are. So it'll be something like that. And then it's just going to be a matter of, I think making the artwork first is just going to make more sense. So I'll just make it and then just sit on it until the goals are met. Because I don't want to be in a situation where the goal is met but the artwork's not ready. Or like if something happens and I can't work on the artwork as quickly as I would like. Or I guess it doesn't matter, because, you know, as long as it gets made and put up, then it's fine. So I guess it doesn't matter either way. It's just a matter of preference. Let's do this more straight. I'll try this way more further. So you're about here. So I want this to be slightly higher up. There we go. Hope everyone's doing alright. And then I'm slowly working on the next page for Creamfield. Trying not to rush it too much, but I am getting like, okay, I need to finish this up. So mostly just getting to the part everyone wants. Yeah, feels like it's going to be busy all around. This would probably be a bit lower. Comes her stick legs. Well, stick feet, technically. And then Kiwi is gonna need a bio made soon too. Trying to make their bios after their respective episodes. Although some characters like Watermelon and Lemon Lime have already gotten info. I think for characters after the initial 5, we'll just kind of have their bios show up randomly. Oh, you didn't get Ling? There was one event where I got all the medals, but I didn't notice that one of the medals was, like, upgradable for some freaking reason. Until, like, the last, like, I don't know, I think it was, like, 10 minutes or something like that. And I didn't get to upgrade the last medal, so hopefully whenever that event comes up, I can upgrade it. It was the event where you had to, like, be, like, everyone's favorite or something like that. Like, you had to raise up your own reputation. And I just didn't notice that that medal was upgradable until at the very end. I like Lee. Yeah, I didn't notice that, because, like, you had to do it with 3 factions, but, like, it was split off into different categories. And I had done everything, but I didn't realize that one of them was, like, in its own section that you had to use specific items in order to upgrade it. And because I was sitting there doing it, and it was like either moving once or wasn't moving at all. And then finally I noticed what I was doing wrong, and I was like, fuck, and then it was already over. So hopefully when if that event comes back, I can do that again. So I technically got all of the medals, I just didn't notice the one that gets upgraded, because I kept looking at it going like, why is there arrows on this one? And then that's when I realized what it was. So far, I have every character currently available in the English version. It took a while to get that one that you had to... I forget, was it? It wasn't Savage. It was the one that you get if you had like jumped onto the game like early, and it took a while for them to re-release her. Because I think they didn't re-release her until like a year after. If it wasn't Savage, it was someone else that looks like Savage. Stretch this out just a little bit more. Yeah, I'm glad that they do the reruns to begin with, so that way it gives you a chance to get the medals that you didn't get, and then also if you had already done everything, it just gives you extra currency to spend, as well as getting more currency for your normal game. So it's like a win-win all around. That's what I like about Arknights, is like there's not really a downside to most of the things you do. And even if you don't get like the rarest characters in the game, you can still beat the game with the standard characters, like the ones that you're always able to get and at it at pretty much any point. Because all the rare characters do is just make the game easier to deal with for certain missions. Like if there's like a character that's really good in a certain mission, then there you go. But it's not impossible. I like Arknights. It's so much fun. But yeah, I like the fact that there's not really a downside with that game. And then if you get doubles of a character, all it's doing is either upgrading the character or giving you more currency for other things. Like, the game is pretty fair for a gacha game. And then now they put in that permanent mode where you can do missions similar to the Kobe event. I think they're like virtually the same thing, they just have a different skin. And then they tossed in a lot more stuff to do. But God help you with the fucking boss. Arknights is probably the last gacha game I'll ever play, because after getting screwed over, well, not screwed over necessarily, but like after the Marvel Avengers Alliance game shut down, I pretty much wasn't doing anything until I saw Arknights, and I was like, okay, I'll give Arknights a try. Luckily, I haven't really had to spend any money in Arknights unless I actually wanted to. Because, like, all the characters I've gotten for free. in the roles, because the game gives you so much free rolls and like tickets and stuff like that that I pretty much didn't pretty much never had to pay for anyone. Like the only time I've ever paid for characters or like to get more characters or whatever was to max them out. So like the only character I did that with was Kate Sith or Cal Sith. Yeah, I like the permanent mode. Especially when you're trying to get like the best run. And oh my god, it took me so long to beat it once. So far, I've beaten it once. I have one of the endings. I just got to get the second ending. And there is an item in it that changes the ending for you. It's just a matter of if you get it. But you can also get the ending you're missing randomly. But there are items that can give you a fixed ending. But there are a lot of situations where characters like Salter is freaking clutch. And for the wine event with Ling, I believe it was Ethan who was like freaking MVP of that event because of his ability. So he was really useful for that event. Actually, it's a little bit too thin. Oh. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't see Lucida's question. Yes, episode 5 is Plum. Yeah, that dragon at the end of that event was freaking brutal. Especially in the EX mission. But yes, Plum's comic will be the next one whenever I return to Creamfield, because I'm going to return to iHat and Black Circus. First, so we're going to be doing that. Alright. Yeah, it was a fun mission, because especially once you figured out what you were doing, then all this boiled down to was timing. Calcith almost helped me break that boss though, because of Monster. Monster just does so much damage, along with I believe it was AFL. Is it Aofiala? Is that the one I'm thinking of? The fire goat or fire sheep. I might be getting my names mixed up because I always get it mixed up with Aofiala and great. I'm getting my names mixed up now. I'm all thinking of their names because all I think about is I'm horrible with names. I've always been horrible. Lava sheep. Or volcano at that point, but it was those two, and it was Surtur mixed in with God damn it, I'm so horrible with names. The one that sings, not Sora, but the other one that's like Sora. Yeah, Scotty. I was thinking Scotty, but for some reason I was thinking I was wrong, so I didn't say it. But I kept thinking Scotty, Scotty, Scotty. I was like, no, that can't be right. I do like the ult for Cruz. I was surprised that she wasn't in English though, because I'm like, wait, so you guys took the time to make Cruz in English, but you didn't make her ult in English? Like, that was weird. Unless it'll probably be in like the next patch. But it was just kind of weird that they have Cruz in English now, but they didn't voice her alternate costume. I already liked Cruz from the beginning, but her in English just made it better. Yeah, I think they're just, taking it slowly, trying to get through it all. Because they have the English actress for Ling, too, which I was also surprised that she wasn't in English during that event. Unless that was just like last minute or something. Because they had her on the live stream. Yeah, British Cruise. Love the voice. I'm enjoying the English actors though. Especially after they put Brahminix in there. I was like, yes. Best girl. Yeah, I hope everybody gets English actors. Actually, I think that might be a little bit too far out. But yeah, I like that Cruise. It sounds like both lazy and like, I don't know, high all at the same time. But it's like she's also trying to be like helpful, but at the same time she just sounds like she wants to take a nap. Naps are awesome. Yeah, Shaw is great. I like how fast Shaw speaks. Overall, fun game. I don't really have any issues with it at all. I accidentally used the item that Amiya gives you in that letter, the cake. I accidentally used it when I was trying to use the other item that they give you to replenish stamina and or sanity, and I accidentally used the cake, and I was so upset over that. I was like, damn it, I did not want to use that. Even though there's an expiration timer on them all, on all those items that the characters give you, which honestly I wish they weren't perishable items. I wish they were just like, oh, the character's talking to you and they give you like a little trinket. Like, I wish it was just that. I know. And it's like, oh, here, all these items are have an expiration date, and I was like, no, why can't we just have items from the characters? I know, right? Because it's like, here you go. I like that waifu gives you stuff too, which was funny because right before she did that, I just upgraded her to E2. Trying to upgrade Ling to or Lee to E2 next. I don't play the game as vigorously as some of the streamers do, so I'm taking my time with upgrading all the characters I have. Like, I've seen streamers and like practically every character they have has been E2'd and almost maxed out. And I'm just like, Jesus. And granted, they probably get like support from their followers and stuff like that, so there's that. But that's okay, because I'm just playing the game as a chill game. I usually play it at night after a certain point. Yeah, it just takes a lot of effort to E2 a character, because it's mostly just the chips that take the most time, because everything else you pretty much have, aside from maybe the money and the I think it's LDS or whatever. Aside from that and the chips, because the chips rotate each day, so like when the day comes, you gotta sit there and grind for the ones you want. Like, they're not hard to get, but you gotta wait when they're not in rotation. So you're just kind of sitting there going like, oh great, got all the stuff I need except for like these 4 things. But you gotta wait for that specific day to show up before you can even do anything about it. And then I made Yordredov's card for the card game. You can technically see it on the table of the Asta cast with Jam versus Kiwi, playing against Kiwi, and you'll vaguely see the card on the table. It's probably like very low quality because of how small I had to make it. Yeah, I'll bring it up in a moment. Turn this off. Let me just save this because I realized I wasn't saving. Characters. Eden Fig. Oh wait, I had another Eden Fig. Oh yeah, that was for something else. I'll change this to WIP. And I'll make this one Eden Fig. There we go. Yeah, let me bring up yours card. I might tweak it because of the size of the writing, but I'll have to look at that after I print out a prototype. But I won't be printing that out until the other cards are ready. But here's yours card. Like, I had to figure out how much of her I was gonna show because obviously her body is like the eye candy and all that. But I also want her head. But if I did her head, you wouldn't see pretty much anything else. So I went for this. But yeah, here's her card. And then I'm also going to make the statue that this card talks about. Which is also the same statue that'll show up in a future short I Had Secrets story. Which I think will be the one that... no, that's not the one with... Magala, because the one with Magala is the jewel that attaches to Magala's stomach. Which, if you've noticed, it is a similar color to the one that's in Yordredov's stomach. I think I might make that black line in the middle bigger, but it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, we'll see if this card needs to change when I get it printed as a test, and then if I do, I'll just go back in and mess around with it. But yeah, this is the card so far. Turn that off. Is there anything else to show? No, not really. Pretty much showed all the other cards that are being worked on at the moment. Alright, back to this. But yeah, just a few more cards and Kiwi's set will be pretty much ready. it's mostly just Kiwi, Eden Fig. I'm debating on if I want to include the tokens, because if I do, they're taking up slots. Although the tokens will have like their own set, so if you want the tokens, you can like buy specific ones. But preferably, I would rather print cards that are actually usable, not the tokens, because it's like you can kind of use anything as a token. But in terms of like, oh, I want the actual token card, like I'll make those, and then it's just a matter of if you want them or not. But yeah, I'm trying to throw in cards that are actually in Kiwi and Eden's decks. Which, Eden actually does have powerful cards, she just didn't realize it, because she doesn't play the game. That was her first time playing. Oh yeah, if Eden had managed, or even Kiwi, like if somehow Kiwi got your inner deck, if either of them had been able to play Yorjadov, then that would just been fat characters all around. But yeah, like, yours whole gimmick is basically a fat deck. And I was gonna make like a special, or not a special, but like a card that only works with Yorjadov. And the whole idea is that basically all characters who get food cards and their defense goes over a certain limit, they're unable to attack. And then like once per turn, Yor either removes a food card from them to lower their points, or Yor chooses which one is able to move each turn. So something like that. That's my initial thoughts for that particular card, if it gets made. But yeah, her whole deck revolves around high defense. Yeah, it'd just be giant fat. Just nothing but fat. But I do like that people are enjoying the cards. And I've been asking. Well, it's funny because some people ask me if I'm making the card game, which I then show them that like these cards are real. You can get some of them right now. And then the other half is like waiting for me to make more and stuff like that. The hard part is whether or not to make a series or another spin-off based off of the card game later down the line. Like maybe I'll make a card game focused comic after. God, if like even then that's gonna be years from now. I don't know. It's like I have an idea for it, but it's like there's no point because it's gonna be a long ways off, unless I were to make it like one page at a time, like once a month or something. But I don't know. I guess it's just kind of irrelevant until I actually make a comic revolving around it again. So it's neither here or there. How would one of yours relics? Um, it would depend on if yours relic would even have anything to do with Skylar's ability. Because in Magala's case, she's just allowed to eat way more than she's usually able to, as well as stretch her stomach. Of course, that comes with crazy weight gain because of the things that she ends up eating. But in Skylar's case, he doesn't normally eat his food, or at least the food that he's tampered with. So technically, it wouldn't do anything. So unless Yor had like a very specific relic that did amplify his abilities, then sure. But other than that, it probably wouldn't do anything other than whatever its initial ability is. So, like, for example, if Skylar had gotten the one that Magala has, then all he would be doing was just be able to eat more. Or bigger things than he usually would. It could be interesting to see it on TV. Oh yeah, like I'll have the card game show up and cameos and stuff like that. Like I've been doing that with other characters too. Like in Black Circus, you can see Joanne and Janet watching Buckle, because Buckle exists in a different world than theirs. Wrestler themed deck. Yeah, there will be a wrestler themed deck. It's just a matter of whenever I can get around to it. Because there's still like a whole slew of cards that I want to do. Some I've gotten made, but like not like the entire archetype, just like one or two. But yeah, I'll definitely want to do stuff like that. Because like Tiny Pets will have cards too, so that'll be interesting. Actually, let's change these. Oh, if like if Yor's power was to mix around with Skylar's food. It probably just do exactly whatever Yor was gonna do it in the first place. Because it's not like Skylar's ability would overpower hers, since she's a god anyway. So yeah, if anything, Yor will probably just notice it and probably be amused, but other than that, it wouldn't like do anything. She might be either amused or impressed, depending on its potency. But other than that, it's not gonna like overlap her. And if she were to eat Skylar's food, it's not gonna do anything to her. Plus, it wouldn't do anything to her. Even if it did, it wouldn't do anything that she wasn't already doing to herself. It's like, oh, this food's gonna make you fat, and she's like, Uh-huh. Just eat it. Not even second guessing it. Or she, like, before you even tell her, she's already eating it. Or she'll be eating it, like, mid-sentence. Okay. So let's get Fig in here. Yeah, exactly. She'll just be like, okay. She's like, yeah, your point? Let's see. Fig's head's a little bit weird. Should probably do it this way. Could see a character with like a fattening ray and then aim it at Yor. He's like, this is gonna make you into a huge blob of fat, and she's like, that's cute. Just look at it and be like, that's cute. This will probably be a short streamer day. It's like hot as fuck where I live right now. And air conditioning in my room does not work right. It's like the air conditioning comes out, but my room does not get cold at all. Hello, welcome. Take care. Yeah, next week I'll try doing longer streams. This week was just kind of like all over the place. Tail's too thin. It's thickening you up. I'll probably stop in the next 40 minutes or so. And then this will be on Patreon, because it's not ready to be on public sites yet until the episode 4 is done. But all character art like this will be public. I just put on Patreon first. And then depending on what it is pretty much decides when it gets posted. But yeah, character stuff I'm gonna have posted. Should be a little bit more right here. Fig's horn. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a pain in the ass because I still have to do the big spider arms. There we go. Exactly. Like on yours, like none of that's gonna matter. She's gonna look at whatever it is you're trying to do and just be like, that's cute. And then she's eaten galaxies before, so it's like practically nothing you can do was going to impress her in that fashion. Exactly. She's like, bitch, I am the queen of fat. Well, literal god, but yeah. She's the god of fat, and like none of that's gonna matter to her. then you'll get the ones that piss her off, where it's like, oh look, it's the spirit of gluttony, and she's like, what? She's like, excuse me? She'll like just stop whatever she's doing, she'll put down her pizza or something, and it's like, hold on. Like somebody else is talking to her, and so she's like, hold on a sec, what the hell did you just call me? And the first would be like, spirit of gluttony, and she's like, oh hell no. Exactly. Probably just look at Gluttony and is like, look, she's not even enjoying it. It'd be funny for Yor to be making fat jokes to Gluttony. It's like, look at this fat bitch, and then everyone just looks at Yor and is like, excuse me? It's like, you're kidding, right? Might as well erase this one, since it's directly facing that direction. And then somebody might get the bright idea, it's like, alright, let's have a fat off, whichever one of you can eat the most. And they're like, it's not even a contest, they'll just go on forever. Although Gluttony does have a actual limit. The Flapocalypse. That's a good one. Yeah, you just look outside like a city and you just see this giant wall of fat. And just helicopters. Yeah. And like at some point, Gluttony has to like show that she's full, whereas Yor is the literal representation of indulgence and stuff like that. So she doesn't have a limit. So she's basically bottomless. But it does like affect her actual like weight and stuff like that. So that's why she's fat. But it could also be just the form that the dimension that she's in gives her. So it's just like, oh, okay, this is what I look like. So it's more like reality balancing itself out. Exactly, and she's like, full? What is full? and like the other gods will have to explain it to her later. It means when you don't want to eat anymore, and she's like, why on earth would that happen? Like, who the hell would want that? It's like, why don't you just kill me already at that point? It's like sticking her in a place with no food, and she'll just look around for a moment and be like, what kind of place is this? Kill the appetite, kill the goddess. Technically she doesn't feel hunger, because she's always, like, eating anyway. But, she'll probably feel something if she's not eating after a certain amount of time. Probably not hunger, but just, like, the urge to eat something. It's kind of like, how you're not hungry, but you just want to have the taste of like, a particular thing. It's like, I'm not hungry, but I do feel like, but I am in the mood to get, like, a milkshake type of thing. Or, like, a piece of cake, you know, that kind of feeling. Like, it's not hunger, but you just want that special something. Trust me, I get like that all the time where I'm like, I'm not hungry, but I'll go and look to see, like, if there's, like, something sweet. And I usually can't, or sometimes I won't find anything, or I'll see something, but it's like, nah, that's for, like, another occasion, so I just leave it alone. And I just say, fuck it, and I just go back upstairs. Like, me, I don't necessarily get hungry. It's just more like I'm in the mood to eat something. So yeah, I have an awful diet. It's probably why I'm thin, but hey, that's just me. Okay. Got these two annoying things. Eden, your artwork's gonna be a bitch. I might have to actually stretch out your box just so I can make sure you get your spider legs. It's one of those situations where it's like, why did I design you like this? And then I think again, because it was cool. Okay. I know there was a panel with her standing with them. Okay. So they mostly come out like this. Let's try 13. Yeah. Yeah, like if I had to, like, break it down, it'd probably be just gluttony is just needs to eat until she's full. Like exceeding the limit of fullness, and then she's like, you know, no more situation. And then your is more like, oh yes, this is all delicious, I must have more type of thing. Because, like, she catalogs anytime anyone makes, like, a new type of dish, so she wants to eat it and try it, because once she eats it, she'll have the knowledge of how it's made and stuff like that, and it just makes her more interested. So, like, for example, if Skylar had come up with some type of new dish that had never been made, then she would be interested in it. Which he likely has, and she's probably observed. in the background. Or if she hasn't, then she'll probably pay him a visit. But of course she'll probably erase his memories or something, if necessary. Or there's probably like some rule that she can't directly mess with. So there's probably like some form of ruling that she has to abide by. There we go. Alright, arms. And then, of course, there are going to be characters that just can't help themselves from eating. And they're just going to, like, eat themselves into either a coma or possibly worse. But that's way off, so we'll get there when we get there. Who would favor Skylar more? Well, Gluttony doesn't favor it. Isn't like a normal god. Or, well, she's technically not a god. She's like a more of a incarnation of sin. And like their whole lore has to just do with like getting rid of the planet itself. Or mortals in general. But Yor would actually be in Skylar's favor. Or in Skylar would be in Yor's favor. I do not like what I'm doing with this. In some cases, yeah, it would be an exploding thing. In other cases, it would just be like, eat until they pass out, and then they realize how, like, gargantuan they've gotten. So, I mean, it's gonna vary per character. The whole idea is just so, like, stories aren't, like, constantly repeating themselves. Because it's like, okay, here's another character who's getting fat, is there any change to this, or is it just fat for the sake of fat? Which is perfectly fine, like, I don't have a problem doing that. But sometimes you just want to, you know, mix things up. This looks like Garbo. Better. I think I just need to change this part of the arm. Take your time, I'll probably be up for like another 20 minutes. Hello, Lucasade. Something about a character seamlessly stuffing themselves into cell bursting. Like I said, I don't have a problem with like most kinks and fetishes and all that. So at some point I might touch on something that everyone will enjoy. Just, you know, going down the list at that point, because most of the stuff, most fetishes and categories I don't have a problem with, so it's just a matter of when, if or when. It's like, have I come up with an interesting story for the kink or the gimmick or whatever? Sure. And then find whatever interest I have into drawing it. So, it's pretty much all it boils down to. I think at some point I want to draw a bunch or some characters that other Waking artists have drawn or have. So I think that would be fun. Maybe I'll make them character poll type of thing. Yeah. Can always do one story where it's like a character who's self bursts themselves, and then another one where it's forced. That way you get two different stories. Technically I can do that with Cookie Rofox, because there's like nothing preventing me from preventing that. Plus it seems like a character that would do that without thinking, because it's a robot. It's just performing her function of, oh, stuff this person with pie. So that could be a thing. Or I could always just use Cookie for like, oh, they're constantly making the character pie and the character's getting fatter over time because that's all they're eating. So, I mean, there's multiple answers to this. I don't have to pick one. I've been doing alright. Just been working on stuff, a little miffed because it's been taking me longer to get pages done for Creamfilled. Because most of the time I'm taking my time with the pages so that way they turn out the way I want them to. A couple of times I had to scrap some stuff from the page I'm working on right now because it just didn't look right. But I hope to get faster at it. Also doesn't help that it's hot as hell right now. Especially sometimes at night. So sometimes it's just conditions of certain things going on and then dealing with real life nonsense. So, the usual. Just the less I'm distracted, the more I get done situation. But I do hope to speed things up, so I'm trying to get on that. Yeah, I know shit happens, but it's just annoying. Yeah, and then I have been posting the streams on YouTube. So there's that too. Thank you. I'm glad it's worth the wait. Part of me wants to be slightly lazy with this one, because I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. It's one of those situations where it's like, I would rather copy and paste certain limbs and then just tweak it to make it look different, and that is why we do not do that. Hold on a second. I did not notice that I was doing details on a different layer. Luckily, this is all fixable. There we go. Select this. Cut, paste. There we go. Merge these together. Ah, got you. There we go. Ha. And then I can either put Eden in front or Fig in front of that. Let's change its pose. But yeah, my goal is to not take so long on pages, especially if it's not necessary. But you know, I pretty much put the pages out when they're ready. Like, there's nothing more I can really say on that. It's like they're ready when they're ready. Okay. Now to clean up where the shading is on those. But I just hate the whole notion of waiting so long for a story to end. But I also know, like, you know, things take time. Let's do it like that. There we go. Well, thank you. I'm glad that some people are willing to wait and all that. Me, I can just, like, I have patience, but at the same time I'm also impatient. I guess I'm impatient with myself. I guess if I had to wait for like other things, it's like, you know, there's nothing more I can do about it. But if it's me, it's like I'm always sitting there going like, what? It's like, why is it taking so long? Why are we not done with this comic? How come we're not working on these? How come you're not cranking out like 3+ pages a week? And I also have to acknowledge that, you know, working on comics is not the only thing I'm doing. I'm also working on like character artworks, the poll winner stuff, working on cards. So there's multiple things I'm doing that I'm sure most other artists aren't doing. I think at most other artists are probably working on like one other piece of artwork other than like their comics. Because I know with like Kip Tite, at least I think that's how you pronounce the name, they do like the comic artwork, and then they do like one of their poll winners, and I think they do that either once a week or once a month. I can't remember which. So they have a lot less on their table that as far as I'm aware of. So it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, I shouldn't be upset with myself for taking a long time when I'm doing multiple things. With that said, though, I still prefer to get more done. So I'm going to work on that and try to make things faster without losing quality. Thanks. Yeah, it just depends on what it is for the story for me. Because like for example, I had two has the whole ordering a wife online situation, and then with Black Circus, it's like okay, here's this snake woman trying to be an actress, and certain situations are about to ensue. Okay, let's merge these two together. Yeah, patiently patient. Yeah, because I know Kip technically wants to do more lesbian type of stories, but they're also aware that people are there for the weight gain stuff, so they're like trying to balance out both of those things. Because I remember talking to him in a message a long time ago, and they told me that, and I was like, "Well, you can make whatever story you want." She's like, and they're like, "Yeah, but they're fully aware of, you know, what's paying the bills." So it's kind of like a self-sacrifice. But you can tell that they're slowly trying to push more gay relationship stories. Actually, let's not do it like that. What was the whole overindulgence contest, by the way? Oh, the character Yorjadoth is basically the god of indulgence, or like overindulgence and stuff like that. And like she is more geared towards like, you know, just eat to enjoy yourself and stuff like that. Like, oh, if you're putting on weight, who cares? You know, do it because you love it. And then comparing her to Gluttony, where Gluttony is a whole different character in the series. So Gluttony just eats for the sake of eating, like they're not enjoying anything. They're just doing it until they're so full that they can't eat anymore until they get hungry again. Whereas Yorjadoth enjoys the different types of food she's eating and just wants to eat more to basically try everything. So yeah, like there's a distinct difference between Yor and Gluttony. I need to update Gluttony's looks though, because her current looks in the older comics are kind of pretty basic in compared to what I could probably give her. Yeah, Yorjadoth is the one behind the curtain. No, Gluttony is more of just like a representation of sin, because her, along with the other sins, are just created to basically destroy the world. So she's not like in charge of anything. She's just there to cause problems. And that's when we learn what we were doing with that. So, put on a little bit something a little bit longer, because I'm going to be stopping soon. Yeah, I just realized what I was doing wrong with this. So that would be there, and then this would be up here. Because there's like the 7 deadly sins, and then there's like the 7 virtues or justices, whichever name I stick with when I get to them. And their whole deal is more plot focused than just being gods and stuff like that, or like divine entities, because they're not actual gods. So we'll go back just for that a little bit. Yeah, like Gluttony wouldn't suffer from like exploding, but she would be like hurting after a good while, and then probably just just pass the fuck out until she's hungry again, and she's already like digested a good chunk of whatever the hell she ate. But she would be like compelled to just keep going until that point, until she just can't anymore and just passes the hell out. Like, even after destroying limits, it's like, alright, you destroy your limit like 5 times, I think I think she's gonna pass out type of situation. Because the whole idea is that it's not supposed to be an enjoyable thing. Whereas with Yorjadov, it's completely enjoyable on her end. Yeah, I'll have to update her, because like the way things have changed in both like World Gates and other stories since I started doing IHAT and all that, there's just gonna be like a lot of overhauls to like older characters and whatever it was that they were doing or representing, because I think I've just had like a lot more time to think about stories and character development and all that. That's why a lot of older characters are getting updated. Because, like, originally when Daylock showed up in IHAT, at that point in time, World Gates and IHAT were just 2 different comics. They weren't supposed to be connected to each other. But then after a certain point, I was just like, I'm putting them together. So a lot of things were changing. That's another reason why True Ending was made, because I was going to start connecting stuff together. Well, the crossover was intentional, because I was just doing it for the sake of just using the character, because I hadn't for a long time. And I was like, well, Skylar's going to meet the devil. The character that I have that is the devil is Daylock. And so I just put them together for the sake of just, it's a character I have, use it for this situation. But then later on, it was like, okay, let's merge these things together, because they might as well just be the same series, but just focused on different characters. Because the whole point of IHAT is just focusing on background characters that would show up in other comics. So like later on, you might see, I don't know, Skylar showing up in World Gates, or even showing up in Black Circus, which, I mean, he does get his own comic, Black Circus, but I mean, like, another character's story. Characters like Mars and all that did show up in Creamfield, and that was when Creamfield was also going to be its own thing, but then I slowly started changing that so that way it would connect to the other comics as well. So ultimately, most, if not all, of my comics are going to end up connecting together, including Buckle. But Buckle, it won't happen for like a good chunk of time. Because it's like, currently Buckle is in its own universe. But there is a point where it does get merged into the other ones. Alright. For now, I'm going to stop streaming. This is what we have of Eden Fig so far. She's pretty much almost done. I just got to fix up this leg more. Probably go over and see what else needs tweaking. I'll probably tweak the spider legs more because some of them are kind of off, like this one right here. But yeah, coloring her won't take too long because she's just going to be in flat color like her siblings. But yeah, gonna update their little bio sheet, or not bio sheet, but character sheet thingy. And yeah, so later on she'll get her own bio once episode 4 is done. And yeah, I'm gonna try to stream longer next week. Just this week is just not doing it for me. But I will be working on the next Creamfield page tonight, and hopefully I'll get it done either tonight or tomorrow. I do want to work on another Creamfield page, so I'll try to get another one done as soon as the one I'm working on is done. And then I'm going to work on poll winners. To be fair, what you said about the double shipping experiments on people. Yeah, there might be a situation where Skylar does do that to somebody in, like, canon. That's technically the case. Well, not exploding, but something like that does happen when he first gets his abilities. But I'll go over that whenever his comic comes out. But yeah, just a lot that I'll be working on, and I will stream again next Wednesday. Hopefully with nothing coming up to take over. But I want to stream next Wednesday, hopefully for at least a few more hours than the two that I'm doing right now. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good day, have a good weekend, and I will see you guys later. All right, take care.